Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Melanated Air Hour, where we come live to you every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern-ish. As you see, today is a big-ish. We're closer to 2:30, but that's okay. We're making things happen. I am one of your co-hosts, Teddy Ewing, at The Real Teddy Talks. I have Miss Keisha Ravenell here with us at We Inspire Brand, and the one at the one Madam President with a Z with us as well. And today we're going to talk about why it's so hard to finish, to get to the finish line, to finish strong, to finish things we start, and what's the root behind all that. And this came to me because I just came on a trip. As y'all see, I'm in not my normal setup. I'm in a hotel in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, which is in Egypt, but a little bit east of where I normally am in Cairo. And I was listening to an audiobook called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I
Ooh.
really like it. I should name the author. I'll Google it while we're talking. And he basically is just stating that the reason people don't do things, they have too high of expectations for themselves, and they're comparing themselves to unrealistic goals and unrealistic things like social media, and how we see only the extraordinary. The news tells you the weird outliers. The news doesn't tell you what is really happening to the average person. They tell you what's happening to this 1.111% of somebody and not the other 99%.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about how we can finish strong, how we've struggled with finishing in the past, and what we can do to be better in the future. But before we do that, we have an amazing, fantastic, glorious announcement. I'm going to let Miss Keisha Ravenell tell us what she has to tell us. Y'all better sit tight and listen. Go on, Miss Keisha. Tell us what's going on.
So over the weekend, I got engaged.
Yay! Yay!
Yes, yes. So as you ladies know, if you're just tuning in, to the Melanated Air show, you may not know, but we did meet at the All Black National Convention, and like it was just like up from there. So I did have like a lot of coaching from like you ladies, from the ladies of Melanated Air. They was like, girl, like when a man knows, he knows. Like, so like you better just go with it. Cause I was getting scared in the beginning. I was like, whoa, like, well, what is this? Like, why is it moving so fast? And it was just amazing. I checked in with you guys. I checked in with like my brothers who are married, and they were just like, Keisha, like you met a real man, like I'm telling you. So like from there, I got like the green light, and I was just like all in, So, and the amazing is just like the connection is just like amazing, So it was great. He actually flew in just to propose to me. So he lives in Arizona.
I love it.
And he flew in just to propose to me. Like, so we're like taking pictures and stuff. He was like, I just got to get a little bit of rest because I'm flying out. I have to be to the airport at 7. So mind you, it was like already like 1:00 in the morning. I'm like, what? You got to be at the airport at 7? I thought you were staying. He was like, no, I just flew here to propose to you. I was like, what?
Aww.
Yes.
That is beautiful. That is love at its best. Black love at its best. I love
Black
it.
love. And he gathered all of my family, all of my friends, so like they were there, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I'm so excited about taking this life's journey with him, and just I'm over the moon. I really am. Like he makes me so happy.
Absolutely.
I love that. I mean, and on the subject of finishing what you start, he knew from the beginning that he wanted Miss Keisha Ravenell. He went after you at full speed, and he did not put the brakes on, the neutral speed. Even when you were getting scared, he kept moving forward, and you got on board to where he is.
Yep.
So was he scared to get to the finish line?
I don't think he was scared to get to the finish line at all. I think it was more so me, but I don't think he was scared to. And he told me in the beginning, he was just like, I'm not here to pressure you to do anything. Like you move at your own pace. He was like, but I'm confident enough as a man to know who I am and what I want, and I'm not gonna bend to that just because you may feel differently, you know. And he was like, if you do, if
Right.
you decide that you don't want to move forward with me, that's okay, you know, but I'm not, you know, gonna just like, well, I don't want to make him seem like, but he was just like, yeah, like this is what it is. Like, so if you're not with it, then fine. But if you're with it, I'm on board and we're gonna do this. So
Mhm.
I got with it. I didn't get
And
lost.
what about your past? What about your past made you apprehensive or scared of the speed at which he was moving?
So it's so funny because remember I told you I spoke to two of my brothers who are married. One of them, he said, you know, you're not, he's like, you're scared because you're not used to dealing with real men who know what they want. And he was like, when a
Mm,
man, like you lady said, when a man knows what he wants, he's gonna move forward, he's gonna pursue it because he doesn't want anything else coming along and jeopardizing that. So for me, like I've mentioned before, like I was in an engagement. We were together on and off for 12 years and it didn't work out. So, you know, for me, it's always like, oh, well, it has to be this long-term thing, but my mom mentioned to me, she was just like, well, you were together, you were with someone for a number of years, you know, over a decade, and that didn't work out. So it's not about the time, like it really is about the connection.
I love that. Now, Madam President, do you think any past relationship experiences are going to make you go toward your next relationship full force as you did before, or are you more apprehensive now?
I think it's pretty much like sometimes it's a little bit like a car accident. When you get out of a car accident, you just drive differently on the road. You just don't
Hmm.
feel as comfortable as if you've never had one. So I think that relationships, no matter how bad or amicable the breakup is, I do think that as we grow in love, it does change us in some
Yes.
capacity, but I think it's important for us to kind of keep the best quality about ourselves. Don't let other people's disappointment alter who you are in the best version.
Mhm.
Like we have stuff that we definitely need to improve on and those things are a constant work. But if you got those things, like if you're loving and you're kind and you're considerate and you're thoughtful, right? And then you come across this bad lover who basically tries to take all of that away from you, don't you dare do that. Don't you dare do that.
Yeah.
Don't you remove the best parts of yourself because somebody else is an idiot.
Right.
So I think that I do both. I could be a little bit more apprehensive because I feel like my risk factor thermometer is going off a lot more than it did 10 years ago. So, when
Hmm.
it's like a fall, you fall, it's just fine. But now you be thinking about that fall. Shoot, I don't try to fall. We were
I
kids,
might break something. I can't go back together again.
Right.
I went to the arcade over the weekend, and I recommend, even as a grown up, we should make time to do fun things, childlike things,
Yes.
because we just kind of stray away from things, especially if you're like myself. I don't have any children. So I don't really find a reason to go to arcades and stuff unless somebody invite me to a birthday party and it's their child or something like that. So I went to a friend's daughter's birthday party, and I had to get on the race car, and this was basically the lanes with the adults. So I get the helmet and all of that, and I had to go. I'm like, I just cannot explain breaking my neck on the race car, just for leisure and pleasure. So I was like, man, when did I become just this thermometer of risk just started floating so much? And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy that I can identify that. But yeah, definitely. So I feel like dating is the same way. The things pop up, but I feel like keep moving very authentic and in love. And for myself, I try to move authentic. I try to move genuine. I try to move in love. And if that's not being properly perceived or well received, I have learned to move around quickly. When you're younger, you stay
Yeah.
around, you be lingering. But I feel like, look, get out, do this fast. You don't need a whole lot
Yeah.
of time to figure out this ain't gonna work.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. And I think so. That's true. So I want to say that, but everyone isn't in the same place, right? Because there are people who've had experiences that cause them to move not in a fashion they should, right? So just say their parents were never together. They didn't have a loving couple in the household, or for business, you didn't have any business owners in your household. So when you get into a business and you start doing it, you realize how hard it is, you put them brakes on, you like, never mind, maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
And you just don't know business is hard. Running a business is hard. Whether you have a degree, all the business acumen, your uncle owns a business, your mama owns a business, it doesn't matter. It's still hard. So we have to be exposed to it to know this is what it looks like, and we have to push through. And that goes back to that phrase that's who could you be if failure wasn't an option, or if you knew you couldn't fail. And that's how we kind of have to enter life and love, because we know the end is we all ain't gonna be here. Like, we all gonna be ashes to ashes and dust to dust. So why are we so scared to move forward when we know what the ultimate ending is going to be? I don't know. So what do you guys think?
I was watching something one time, and they asked a couple, it was an older couple, like, how did you guys stay married for so long? And their response was, we just didn't get a divorce. Like, they didn't say it was hard. They didn't say that, you know, there wasn't things going on in their relationship. They just said, we didn't get a divorce. So we don't know all of the trials and tribulations they went through, but they stuck it out. So that's how you get to the finish line. You keep going. So day by day, you tackle these things day by day, and you get to the finish line, whatever that may be.
Absolutely.
So in business, I wonder, like, so, you know, when people are comparing business, like for small businesses, right? And social media is so ever present in everything we're doing. And you know how people get to talking and they'll name somebody that had like astronomical success, like some guy named PewDiePie on YouTube, or they'll talk about Cardi B and her musical success, right? Like, that's what you want to call it, right? And they're always want to use that example, like, see, if they do it, you can do it. But is there really a recipe to success? Do you guys believe that if you follow a strict recipe, if you be like Cardi B, you get your mindset on something, you go after the execs and have your reality show, then you parlay with the industry and you get your record deal, that someone can rinse and repeat the same thing and become who these people are?
The thing is, though, it's like, you are not Cardi B. You are not Beyonce. You are you, right? So I am Keisha Ravenell, and nobody else is Keisha Ravenell. So I think people have to understand that as well. Like, you have to find what your own secret sauce is, and not try to follow who everybody else is, and not try to do what everybody else is doing. So if you know, or you followed Cardi B, or you know her story, Cardi B is authentic to who she is, right? She's unapologetically her. So I think by you being unapologetically you, that is how you can get to the finish line. That is how you can move forward. And in addition, you don't know what these people are doing in these industries to get to where they are either. So that's a whole nother story.
Absolutely. Yes. It actually makes me cringe to hear people say, if this person do it, you can do it. Now, mind you, we all have a personal fingerprint, right? Our fingerprint is so distinctive that no one else can have it identical. Even identical twins don't have the same fingerprint. And sometimes I believe you have to keep that in mind on life's journey. Nobody has an identical journey, you know, everything. So you be walking around under the impression like, if she did it, I can do it. Well, guess what? Is she going through grief like you? Is she fatherless like you? Did she have, you know, is she experiencing life? Is she the same exact opportunities? But I will say this, all of the gains, I was just saying this earlier today, I was talking to a friend who I consider to be just a very dear friend of mine. And I was sharing with him, I said, you know, what I'm learning is all of life's gains is hard work. It's work. You know, like, there's this idea that it's coming easy. often. And
Yes.
guess what? It is not coming easy. I don't care what it is. It's not coming easy. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall short is the effort is there, the thought is there, but you wasn't prepared for the difficulty. And the difficulty is making you stop. The difficulty is making you change your mind. But if you want it, it's not coming easy because, in the words of so many, and I think there's this video with Denzel that's going around. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Everybody would do it. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think that's you hit the nail on the head, Madam President. You too, Keisha. It's anything worth having is not going to be easy. Marriage is not easy. When you get into, I saw a clip today and it was Kim Kardashian posted when she started having doubts about Kanye, and it was about a Band-Aid. He wanted her to find him a Band-Aid. She got him a Band-Aid, but he wanted a neutral skin color for him Band-Aid. So he was going to have her send her on this wild goose chase around the house. And she was like, I'm just not doing it. I'm not. And then she was talking to her sister, Chloe, who was like, but if that's what really was going to make him happy, then why can't you just get him the Band-Aid? And it's little things like that that's in our lives constantly, consistently. Like to some people, things are a big deal and to others are not. But if that is your mate, that is your love, then sometimes you just got to find the damn Band-Aid. Even if it takes you 20 minutes or you got to send somebody out, they got money, send somebody to the store to go get this boy Band-Aid. Now, he may be neurotic and he may have a lot of other stuff going on as an example, but if that's important to him, then it needs to be important to you. And just like your business, running a business is not easy. That way everybody would do it and they'd be successful. And we don't get to the finish line because we quit too early, because we don't realize it's going to be hard. So we don't know it's going to be hard. Then when we meet adversity, we don't know what the hell to do. So we just stop.
Yeah, it's true. And we live in the age of instant gratification. Everything is at your fingertips. So I feel that in past generations, they understood patience, because a lot of things they had to be patient for. Whereas for us, if we want to know something, we Google it. If we want to, see our friend, we FaceTime them, right? We don't have to travel to see our friend, right? We pick up the phone, whatever, to talk to our friends. So everything is just instant, but business stayed the same. Relationships stayed the same. Like you still have to work for that. So I think that's what it is in this generation. We're so used to that instant gratification, that instant, whatever we want, we get it right now. That's not how business is. That's not how relationships are.
Also, too, I agree, but I believe sometimes relationships. So I think one of the sisters over here, she said, failed relationships make you more aware of self-improvements, life adjustments, growth, etc. So truth be told, they're not failed. Those relationships just weren't what God wants for you. But I think about the self-improvements. So if you're dating somebody and you guys are together and you think about this person needs a Band-Aid and this Band-Aid is just kind of important to them. And I'm going to treat their ass just like my therapist treated me. What's underneath this thing that, is it just the Band-Aid? What else is happening? And I believe that that's just why therapy is so important, because we literally be going through things that is so much deeper than the surface. Yeah. I will never forget dating my ex, and she was junky. I was just not really into like the kind of junkie that she was. And no shade, it was just like junky, not like a nasty person or anything like that. I was just a little bit more tidy. I was used to living alone. All I know is one day I saw this red blow dryer and I was like, look here. It all came out. So I have a friend that I shared the red blow dryer story to. So every time I'm getting like, fuming, I'm going up in anger. My friend like, red blow dryer, huh? I'm like, yes, girl, red blow dryer.
Wire hangers.
That's what I had going on. But I feel like my therapist, only time, I was really able to get into just in touch with self and then learning to compromise a little bit more is when my therapist was like, well, it's not really anger, what's under that? And then we start doing the little chart of words. Here we are, going through what's under the anger, and it's like, oh, it's disappointment. Oh, you know, it's more sad. It's more layers of something else, not just anger.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, a business relationship with like Kim and Kanye, one of the biggest things that I always felt is Kanye comes from a different upbringing than Kim. A lot of times when we come from two different worlds and we're trying to come together, it is not as easy as people make it seem. Those are two different worlds, that you're trying to merge. Not to mention, you a rapper, you an artist, you come from this part of, the inner city of Chicago. Your mother was an educator, father was in and out, from whatever the public domain of the story is. You get into this industry, this person, father is already established, famous attorney. I grew up in the hills, baby. That's her story. I grew up in this arena that you just got 25 years ago. I've been in this world. This is to me, so then not to mention, just professionally, I don't know why. Okay, this is not the gossip blog, so let me just move on. I'm not gonna say it. I'm minding my business. Something I saw was funny, so we can give the ladies and the gentlemen a good laugh. Somebody just posted a meme earlier today and said, "Somebody tell Kim and Kanye to take us out the group chat."
Right? That's how I felt. I'm like, dude, you and your Asian woman, let y'all have y'all thing. You're like, you knew who she was when you married her. Now you had all these kids with her, and you're gonna be dealing with the messy. She's been messy since the beginning. That's her life. Her life is built around messy. She's a probably almost $1 billion messy person. So just you gonna get what you got. You gonna get what you got. Exactly. But Madam President, you always bring up something and it's about different worlds. When you are trying to align yourself with someone that comes from a whole different world than you, it's going to be very difficult. Because their experiences aren't your experience. I saw Kev on stage. He's like a social media comedian. And he was talking about Pam and Tommy. And he said when he heard Pam and Tommy, he's thinking about Martin. That's the only Pam and Tommy he knows. But the article was talking about, the article was talking about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. Oh, and he was like, how he said, Black people, white people, he said, we just come from a different world. Like it didn't even dawn on him who they were talking about. And just little things like that I'm like, if you come from a different world, I'm not saying it won't work. I mean, even though marriage, relationships, business is all hard, but you add in those two different worlds, it's going to be that much more difficult. And you have to prepare yourself mentally for those things in the midst of dealing with your own issues, your emotional issues, your trauma from when you were growing up, generational trauma, all that stuff, coupled with the fact that y'all come from two different worlds. So, I'm saying it should be easy, but you make it harder if you're doing it that way.
Right. And don't try to change that person. So like you both said, you knew who that person was going into the relationship. Don't go into the relationship thinking like, oh, well, this person loves me now, so I could try to change them. That's not how it works. Like you need to love and accept that person for who they are. And that's why it's so important to get on the same page and to align so that when those difficult moments come up, like you both are tackling it from the same perspective, not like, oh, well, I want to take off my clothes. And Kanye's like, well, you a wife now, you can't do that. And she's like, you knew who you were when you met me, when you married me, when you had kids with me, so you can't do that.
Man, you can.
And if you think about, I was gonna say, think about how hard it is to change yourself. Think about how hard it is for you to change your own identified bad habits. So why the hell do you think you're going to be able to change somebody else's bad habits or good habits or different habits?
We are under the impression, I don't know what it is. I believe that we are under the impression that, okay, so we already know that like scientifically what's going on in the brain, that's just making everything so mushy. And then when that passes, it's just like, oh, snap. Okay, this is a real situation, a real human being that I'm, that I'm managing. And I feel like we fail at that part because some people they mismanage themselves so often. So then you become like in a relationship or intertwined with a person and you just don't even know how to handle that particular person, that thing. And it's just like, we have to come to terms about the work? Like, this is gonna be work.
That's it.
Don't think that
That's
this
it.
is just gonna be easy. Like, I think somebody had I saw another thing on social media. I know, guys, I need to do better. But
No,
I saw another
you
thing.
are good.
I saw another thing on social media where there was like this couple. They were a very famous TikTok couple. And the girl basically was saying, y'all, social media is so fake. And the couple was giving like advice on how to be loving and how to be caring. And then the next clip was like, oh yeah, husband killed famous wife, he's sitting in jail. Meanwhile, they had been giving all this love advice on TikTok.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God.
Their reality in order. I repeat, people need to get their reality in order. People are doing a horrible job at balancing this fake world and this real world. So you have people who are just literally outpouring themselves. And my colleagues and co-hosts will tell you, Madam President will send a message and say, hey, today's a mental health day. I don't feel like expressing, anything or extending myself. And that's okay. People are over here online exhausting themselves and then going to the nearest bridge, afterwards. And I've seen so many articles lately of like suicide. And it's just like, y'all, what I think is important is getting the real affairs in order. Real relationships in order. I don't care. I mean, I like that Rihanna is having her child. I appreciate that. But guess what? I got to be what's going on over here in my real life cannot be less important than what's going on online. Like, we got to get our real life in order.
Yeah. And that reminds me of the other side of the pendulum. So we have the people that just give up, and then we have the people that are so motivated to get to the finish line that they don't think about their mental health. They don't think about resting. So I feel that we need to talk about both sides, because in order to get to the finish line, you have to make sure you're putting things in place that is going to help you get there. You don't want to die before you get to the finish line, right? Like, whatever the finish line may be. So make sure you have stuff in place. Make sure you are, like I said, resting. Madam President said earlier, you're doing things that are like playful, right? And bringing you back to your childhood, because all of these things are helping you, develop character and build and pouring into you, making you happy, giving you peace. You need all of those things to get to the finish line. So it's not just, oh, I'm going to have money. Like, yay. Like, okay, but what about your peace? What about your happiness? What about your relationships? All of these things are important for you to have at that finish line.
And you need to set realistic goals. Instead of saying, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, say, I'm going to work out so that I feel better. That's all. So if you start working out and you start feeling better, then you'll start doing it more. So you've not attached a number to it. You've not said, I'm going to work out 5, 7, 8 days a week. You haven't said any of that. You said, I want to start feeling better, and I'm going to do that through working out more or moving more, whatever it is. And you start with these baby steps. Then you're actually reaching finish lines constantly. I'm going to read for 15 minutes tonight. Who can't read in 15 minutes? I know it's hard sometimes. I'm not going to read a whole book. I'm not going to read a whole chapter. I'm going to read for 15 minutes. Whatever that leads us to, that is what's there. And it's so funny because I think it was you, Keisha, I might be wrong, but in our Melanated Air group, who posted the article about the young lady who committed suicide a couple weeks ago. I want to say Christy is her first or last name. I'm so ashamed I don't know what it was. Do you know her name?
This is Miss America, right? She was Miss America?
Yeah, Miss America, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were talking about her mother had to make a statement that she was actually suffering from depression because people had all these conspiracy theories about her maybe not jumping off the building. But what made me so sad was it was Good Morning America giving this announcement and reading what the mother had said. And the very first thing that the reporter said was talking about this young lady. And then they said, she had such a promising career, or she showed so much promise. I'm like, this girl was already accomplished. She already made it. She was crowned Miss America. She was a lawyer. She had an MBA. She was a reporter on, I think, Entertainment News or Entertainment Tonight or something. So it's like, if she is still showing so much promise, what do us regular folk have to look forward to? If every step you make, if you become a lawyer, you get your law degree, you're a practicing attorney, and they're like, oh, you're showing so much promise. Like, when do we ever just make it? And that's the problem with the finish line. I don't even know if it exists because it keeps getting moved forward and forward. So if you're comparing yourself to people who they haven't even made it to the finish line according to big society, then we'll never get there. It keeps moving forward. So you have to set your own goals, because if you let society set them for you, you're never going to make it, because they're always going to have new rules, new lines, new everything to make it that much more difficult for you to feel good about yourself.
That's right. And her name is Chesley. Is it? I'm not sure if it's Christ or
Chesley Christ.
Chris.
I think it's Chris. That's it. Thank you for looking that up. I appreciate it.
Also,
Vonnie 392 asked what the topic is about, and we're just talking about making it to the finish line. Why we don't make it to the finish line, whatever that arbitrary goal is in business, life, relationships, emotional health, whatever it is. Why is it so hard to get to the finish line, and how we can combat that feeling?
And I just want to say, you have to celebrate the small wins. So each small win can be the finish line for you. We're so focused on the big goal that we forget the small wins that actually get us to the big goal. So if you want to make $100,000 a year, it has to be some point where you're making, $10,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Celebrate that, because that is steps that's getting you to that bigger goal. So even for me, right? So, I announced that I recently got engaged over the weekend. I'm so excited. Yay! So like, before we got engaged, we were talking about marriage. We were talking about a wedding. And I told him, I said, I will not plan any wedding. I will not think about any wedding details until we are engaged. I said, that is the first step. Like, we could talk about it. It's fun. It's beautiful. Like, we could talk about our lives, but I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm not gonna just like, oh yeah, well, the wedding. We're not engaged yet. So like, that was that small win. And now I'm celebrating this small win. And now I could focus on, the marriage and the wedding and like all of that great stuff. So celebrate those small wins, people. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. The small wins are so important to the big wins. Like whatever the goal is, the big goal is, it's the small contribution is just a part of the big goal. So, I mean, for myself, even when Teddy was talking about losing weight, I'm like, that's the story of my life. Every year I'm losing it this year, and I'm losing it, and I'm not. But the one thing that I try to keep in mind is I try to keep my mind in order. That's number one. Try to keep my mind in order, and I try to control my intake, my sugar intake. Like, okay, you're not a kid. You can't be going around eating candy like you 11 years old, so those are the kind of steps that I'll take towards something big. And there's sometimes like some things you may want to do, and it is difficult. And I think one of the things about some goals is it's so big. It's not even like your mind can't even process the first step. And I also feel like I had to start forgiving myself for what I didn't know. Sometimes we look at people and we're like, they have this and they have that. How you gonna compare yourself to a person's situation and you didn't even know what an IRA was? And I had to forgive family for what they didn't know. I was going around thinking, I wish my grandparents, had owned their house. Well, guess what? They didn't. They didn't own it. They were renters, and maybe there was information that they didn't know, and maybe they didn't know how to budget and finance. But guess what? It can change. We are generational curse breakers around here. We are breaking generational curses. And one of the things that we are doing, me and some of my other friends, when we talk about this, we are literally going through a world and making better choices with more information than our parents and grandparents had access to. Do you think this is going to be an easy process? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Do you think it was going to be easy? Oh my God, no, it will not be easy. But we can do this with ease in reference to understanding that difficulty does happen, challenges does happen, and no doesn't mean never. And constantly putting yourself with people who are interested in seeing you overcome. A lot of times, our entire environment is so conducive to the nothingness. So it's going to be hard to get to the next place if our environment is not even supportive of our growth. So it's like I can just see, and I'm just going to pass to I'm gonna pass the mic. But I was thinking about Barack Obama and whether I agree with his political position or not. I was thinking about, I heard Dr. Boyce say this, he said before anybody saw Barack Obama as the president of the United States, he had to first see himself as that. So one of the things when I was watching a documentary about Barack Obama, and I think about people like him, I said, you have to have a strict life of discipline to reach those kind of heights. Some people can't handle it. Limelight, being squeaky clean, no hustle, no bustle. Even if your political stuff is all raunchy and all of that, I'm just talking about enough to get to, Senate, enough to get to president, and enough and so forth and so on. And so it was just kind of like fascinating that some people do have that mind. I went over to Tyler Perry Studios and the lot, 40 acres. And then, there's this big building. One building says the Dream Building. And then there's this, 8 stages plus of like sound stages. And then there's a lake on the property. And it's like, and I was on the property and I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy that a person can have a dream this size. This is crazy, but here's the thing. If you got a dream that size, baby, like you have got to take yourself serious.
Yeah.
That's the only way it can happen.
You've got to take yourself seriously. You have to figure, I remember I wanted to be a doctor for the longest. And then when I finally realized how much school and training was involved, I nixed it. I was like, I don't like school like that. I don't want to I don't want to do that. So I found something else I wanted to do. Like, you have to know what's entailed in you fulfilling the dream you want, and you can't live in la la land. You got people doing all these social media, TikTok videos. Some people they make like 20 TikTok videos a day. You can't want to be them unless you're willing to make 20 TikTok videos in one day. Like, you got to come up with the material, you got to do the dance, you got to do all that. Like, are you going to do that every single day? Probably not. So don't compare yourself to that person, because you ain't never going to be them.
I was like, I'm not. For real. And my thing is also, I know we're talking about getting to the finish line, but you also have to know what's not for you, like Teddy said. So sometimes you're working towards something, but you do have to quit. So quitting isn't always bad. Like, that's not always a bad thing, because you don't want to compromise your peace, right? So I know if somebody's like, girl, if you make these 20 TikTok videos every single day and then that's going to make you successful, I know I'm not doing it. It's not me. Like, I don't know. It's going to stress me out. And I don't want to be stressed out. I'd rather do something that I love, that I enjoy, and of course, there are going to be hard moments when you're doing something that you love and enjoy as well. But I'd rather do that than do something that I absolutely hate. So you have to know when to give up, when to leave, so in those toxic relationships, yes, you should be quitting. Don't try to get to the finish line, because like I said earlier, you might not make it to the finish line, God forbid, if you're in that toxic of a situation. In business, maybe this business is not for you and you're just doing it because, oh, I heard you can make a lot of money. Guess what? You might not make a lot of money because it's not for you. So you're not going to put in that energy and that effort, and you're not going to do the research. Like, you're just trying to get to the bag. So you have to know when things are not for you as well.
Absolutely. And
I love that.
that you have to, I think something that I was learning how to do is finding people who are stronger than me in areas that I'm not as strong. It's like a lot of times when we're, especially in business, we're trying to do it all. And I get it. Sometimes we're not at a place financially where we can like outsource certain things. But guess what? You better go to your local church, YMCA, something. You got to start talking and being vocal and communicate about what your needs are. So often we just miss out on things because we just haven't vocalized what our desires are. Hey, I need a person who's strong in Excel. I need a person who got a CPA. You know, a CPA, you know, like I'm constantly talking to people about what I need, to the point where I told one of my friends that I don't know if I'm open to having any more new friends. If you don't come with a law degree, a business, a CPA, accountant, or a real estate agent, and that you got to come with some value, because at this point, I'm not kicking it no more. You know, like right. I'm at the age where I just can't.
Right.
You don't have no time to be playing. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all, my conversation threshold for useless conversation, it's this small. Like, if we're not talking about building, and that's building yourself, growing, building businesses, growing money, investing in yourself, investing in money. If we're not doing that, like me and my husband, like if you talk about sports with me, like I'm walking away. Like I'm like, all right, I'll let y'all have that. I'm gone. Like I have no time for it. And I think that makes me not a fun person sometimes, but I am in the prime of my life. I am making up for generational curses, and I ain't trying to do this for the rest of my life. So I have a plan. I'm trying to get to my little finish lines. So I just don't have time to talk about, you know, whoever's Rihanna's baby. I'm happy for her, but I don't know her. I know Keisha though. I'm gonna go to her wedding. So if I'm gonna spend time worrying about somebody in their future, it's gonna be Keisha. It's not gonna be who did I say? Rihanna. It ain't gonna be her. I don't know her. I don't want to. We ain't gonna meet. It's all good.
Right.
So I'm gonna wrap it up, ladies. I'm gonna give everyone a chance to come to give us some final thoughts and tell us what you feel has made you most successful in reaching your finish lines and how you've overcome any doubt or regret in the process. So go ahead, Ms. Keisha. Now I'll go last.
Okay, so for me, it's definitely that support system. I always talk about my support system, but it's because they play a major role in my life and they're so imperative. So when I am feeling like, oh my God, like I can't be resting, like I have, you know, my best friend who is also my brand manager telling me like, rest, girl, like this is why you're hiring people. You feel like, you know, you have all this free time now because you hire people on your team to do the work for you. So that's why you have that free time to rest. And that's the goal, right? So, you know, when I'm not feeling well about something else, I'll go to my mom. You know, when I'm not feeling well about something else, I'll go to my fiance, you know. So that support system is super, super important for me in helping me get to the finish line. And like I said earlier, you have to be doing things that pour into you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because it's not just about the finances, right? Some people think the goal is, oh, I have to make this certain amount, where the goal should be health and wealth, right? Like, and wealth is not just, oh, I make $1 million a year or whatever it is. Wealth is, I have my money, I have my relationships, I have my peace, I have my happiness. That is wealth, and that should be the goal.
Absolutely. I agree, Keisha. I will say, you know, are you scared to finish what you start? I think that intrinsic motivation is a necessity for you to accomplish the goals that you have in mind for yourself and your family. I remember watching the movie, you know, Don't Look Up or something like Don't Look Up?
Don't Look Up.
Okay, Don't Look Up. And what I found fascinating was how difficult the truth was for people to take the truth, number one. And then the second thing I found to be kind of fascinating was, in the end, he was only at the table with the people that he loved. So I think as you go through your life journey, I think about my grandmother's funeral a lot of times, and I think about the small number of people that was there. It wasn't the people that she was arguing with over email or some nonsense work related issue. It wasn't anybody that we talk about over the Oscars. It was family. The people that loved her the most was her family that was truly there in the most pain and who was going to miss her the most. So I think that we have to start being intentional about what's important and acting upon that and finishing what you start, because know this, it is going to be difficult. But difficulty does not mean defeat. So continue to go through and watch you're going to find yourself up.
Love that.
I love that. And I think you really hit it on the head, but I would end it by saying, when you are in those moments that you're scared and you can't make it to the finish line, ask yourself, is this even the race that I want to be running, right? And if that answer is yes, then I want you to close your eyes and look inward. I think anytime you feel adversity, you need to look inward and say, how can I make this better? How do I feel? Why am I here? Because think about what's important. Whatever matters at the end, think about your last moments. If you can envision your last moments on this earth, what is important to you? And focus on that throughout your life. And if you focus on that, I think we won't get caught up. We won't be scared of success or scared of failure or scared of whatever it is in the middle that you get scared of, because you'll know what's important: love, relationships, making an impact, leaving a legacy, leaving something after you're gone. Like, that's what really makes us thrive. And when you have those goals, then nothing is going to stop you, because that is what your goal is. And you feel it deep down inside. And it's not an outward feeling that's forcing you to do it. It's coming from the inside out. So always look inward, be your best self, and stop worrying about other people and what they're doing. And I think that'll take a lot of that trepidation and fear and things stopping you from reaching your greatness will be removed. So thank y'all all for being here, listening to our topic. Please do take the time to follow all of us ladies. It's normally 5 of us on the varying days of the week, but we have Miss Keisha Ravenell at We Inspire Brand. We have Madam President at The One Madam President. I am Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks. And our other two co-hosts is LaNée Javet at I Am LaNée Javet, and Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. Please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, Melanated Air, like, follow us, and you will catch us again on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern-ish. Be blessed, be Black, and be one. Love y'all. See you next time.
I just popped on my Instagram live, guys, so I'm going to log up here and talk to my Instagram